What makes you angry? What really gets you? What causes you grief in your soul? What moves you to stand up, to make a stance, to raise your voice, to step into a situation? Because whatever that is, whatever it is that causes you anger and angst and grief, it says a lot about you. It says a lot about you. See, there's this false spirituality going around now that says that nothing should ever move you. You should always be stoic. That nothing should ever make you indignant or angry or feel of grief or to confront anybody else. This is out of bounds spirituality, this false facade of spirituality that's overtaken our nation lately. But it's complete garbage. It's not true. There are things that ought to grieve you. There are things that ought to make you angry. There are things that ought to make you want to stand up and step into a situation, even in the face of severe conflict. And whatever it is going to expose a lot. See, in our passage last week, we had two different things take place. We had the disciples who became angry at the people bringing their children in. Why? Because they saw the children like the world saw the children. And like man saw children at the time. Insignificant, helpless, useless, in the way, needy, can't contribute. They were vulnerable and insignificant, lowly. And the world that has no time for that. And so what it exposed about our disciples is that they still had the minds of men. They were not yet being completely transformed into the things of God. Where Jesus was indignant for a completely different reason. See, he saw the worth of these little children. In fact, he bolsters them as the example of the only way to come to him. See, while the world views the weak and the insignificant and the outcast as useless because they cannot contribute effectively to this world or to man, or maybe that's the way I feel because they can't contribute or do anything for me. Jesus and God, the kingdom of God, these people are significantly valuable. God, these are the people that God uses. See, they have no earthly use, but they have heavenly use in the buckets full. And this is how Jesus is trying to formulate the disciples' minds and our minds to be like his, to see value where Christ sees value. And the value may not be in this physical world today in this plane, but they are in the kingdom of God. They matter to the kingdom of God. They belong to the kingdom of God. See, Jesus is indignant when the vulnerable are pushed aside, when the insignificant are overlooked, and when the helpless are neglected. This is what causes him to have conflict with even his closest friends, to stand up and say something. So the question now remains, what makes me indignant? Because it reveals a lot about me. It reveals the true nature of my heart. So what makes you indignant? Is your anger, your thought process, what grieves you still tied into this world? Or is it being conformed and transformed into the mind of Jesus, and you begin to value what the kingdom of God values more than what the world values?